So this is the start of me documenting my garden, apart so I can share it with people who maybe don't get to come to my house as much and don't get to see everything moving, but also to show me how much has changed, and to help me remember what I'm up to, what the plan is for the garden, and just, be excited about how much has changed. So now it's the 24th of May. I'm about to have surgery, so I've got 2 weeks off, and it's also in the change of seasons. So the winter solstice is coming up in maybe 3 weeks or so. So that kind of changes seasons, but also just a change in season in terms of different semesters. Weather's definitely changing. We've had a couple of frosts, so really trying to lock into that winter garden mindset, and also prepping for what might happen next year. So starting off with a little garden tour. Important gardening equipment. My red bands, which are not being used today. Today is Sunday, and I'm just really more in a commentating mood than a digging mood, so it's Crocs for the win. So let's have a look. Can I switch this around? No, I can't. Okay, let's do it this way. So as we come down my driveway, my pathway, we've got, first of all, this little garden here. I've tried to grow lots of different stuff in here, but mostly we're going to go for greens. Nice and close to walking past this every day. Spinach, silver beet, oregano, and celery, and a bit of parsley as well. Got me some flowers here. This is had obviously a severe haircut. Thyme, sage, and chives that were huge and bushy, and a bit over themselves. So fingers crossed there's a little bit of growth back before it gets super cold. We've got my rhubarb, which have not done super well there. We've got quite a lot in the freezer, but definitely not as super maxed out as what I've had rhubarb in the past. Down here in my other two beds, we've got again the silver beet, the spinach, parsley, celery as kind of the greens, doing the greens work. And also, and amongst all that, is my garlic has been planted in there too. So this still gets dry because it's underneath that, which is perhaps not the smartest thing I've done. I could have put them maybe over there, but wasn't thinking about that. I get more nasturtiums over there and some borage from my old house. And what I've also just done to try and get some more light in is that rhododendron and that tree there, the yellow one, have had a very severe haircut. Probably maybe a third of the bushiness that they were. And also that tree there was twice as high. So that's a spiky pear. Between the two of them, they were kind of blocking out some of the winter sun that comes in at quite a steep angle here. So I really want these little plants here to get some of that. Next vision is to take out some of this big boy here. I probably will leave the great big bits in, because it's actually getting beyond what I'm able to do with a handsaw. But I can definitely thin out a whole lot of this if I can get up high enough in the tree so that the sun can come through. So that's one of my big plans. But actually standing here talking has made me realise that these need a water, so I'm going to just pause and go ahead and do that. Yeah. So on my list of things to think about is irrigation. For these beds, basically all the way around the edge of the top section is where I've very cleverly put the black currants, the gooseberries, the blueberries, the feijoas. So I've got to figure out how to get from that tap in the corner there over, ideally across my pots, but across to these guys over here as well. And maybe up to there as well, gosh. Yeah, so a little bit of probably mapping and math and planning to get a reasonable irrigation setup. So that actually I'm making the most of the plants that I have, and they're not kind of trying to be productive whilst kind of starving. You guys can have some too. So those rhubarb are right under that there, so this guy's also not just stealing light, but also taking up all the water. So some of your days are numbered, buddy. Alright, so from the top, let's go for a walk down to my brand new garden beds. Turn this guy off first. So this is actually really probably oregano. Really why I wanted to start doing some of this documentation, because I put in these brand new beds and I've got plans for a chicken run, and so I thought if I can watch it growing, I'll feel much more motivated. And saying stuff out loud also helps me think through what it is I'm actually doing. Alrighty, so if we ignore the dog poo for now, because that's something I have to do something about. These are my brand new beds. So the idea was that these would be potato beds, or kind of the big in the ground stuff, because I haven't been able to grow those really up in the little beds upstairs. And so I took some of the sleepers from around this raised bed, which is now a jungle, and put them out here on the flat. So this is where actually probably the sunniest spot in our whole garden, because it gets, the sun sort of comes up here and goes all the way across. It's kind of the angle of the sun, and so it seems crazy not to make the most of the best part of your garden. So what got me really excited is when I came down here yesterday, and so underneath here is a layer of cardboard from Clayton's work, and then a layer of leaves from around all of the leaves that are falling down in our yard, and then I put compost, and then I put a cover crop, planted a cover crop, and I'm so excited because it's been, the two big frosts have come through, and these guys are still flat. They're still coming up. So the little ones you see there are mustard. We also have a little bit of the barley which has come up, which is, what's that guy there? And these ones are lupins. So some of the bigger ones, there's a pretty one there, are also boosting up through the soil. So it said on the packet 6 weeks or so, and then you can trim them or kind of trim, how do they call it? Something and drop. And then you kind of got another layer again of mulch, I guess, to stop the weeds from growing in the interim. So the idea is that this will rot down the lawn and things underneath, and give me a nice bed when it comes to planting potatoes, probably in October-ish. And so while I was doing that, so here's another tree that's going to shade this end of my potato bed. So this guy here is also going to get a bit of a haircut and a thinning out, because I don't think it was ever meant to be quite this big. While I was taking out some of these edge here, I was thinking about how we're going to do our chicken run, which is going to be this guy here, and I'm going to run the fence from the corner of that up to where those stakes are and across, and that's going to be our big chicken run. So I thought, okay, well we've got this thing that was the bed. It's full of raspberries and ferns and well, and all of that stuff you can see there. There's also my gardening companion up there, who likes to keep an eye on all that he can see. You right, Toby? Yeah. So I thought while I'm here, I'll cover this over. And what I'd like to do is make that my pumpkin bed, because I use a lot of pumpkins. They're one of my favourite kind of storage foods. And so this way, each winter I can kind of cover it over, pull a lot of the hay and stuff out of the chicken run, which is going to be really pretty hot with all the chicken poo and stuff, let it rot down over winter, and then each spring and summer when we plant them, it's going to be amping in terms of super fertile, which is what pumpkins like. They're really hungry feeders, as I understand it. So I'll walk through the chicken run another time in terms of the vision, which I'm making up as I go along, but that's kind of what I wanted to start with, is to say, look, I've got these beds up the top, these brand new beds, which are already growing some cover crops for me, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I guess just start, right? Just start telling the story. And there's loads of things I'm thinking about of what I want to do and the wider context of gardening and the environment and the journey we're on. So that is me. I don't know how to turn it around, so I'm going to old school turn it around. We'll see you next time. So I just watched that back. Couple of thoughts on episode 1. The experiment. First of all, mouth breathing much. Throughout that you can hear me puffing because I cannot breathe through my nose. So surgery tomorrow. Let's get that sorted out. We'll see how that sounds in episode 2. Also, trying to upload this, realised that I should be actually recording like this, because this is how our YouTube channel wants to see me, sideways. So this first episode is kind of like this, or it chops stuff off, chops off half of my picture. So yeah, learnt some stuff, and that's okay. But yeah, it's been kind of fun to put together, and I think it will be super useful for looking back at, and it kind of got me motivated, thinking about all the cool stuff I can do. So yeah, episode 1, put into Canva, put into YouTube, critiqued, evaluated. Let's go for episode 2. Mwah!